Balls Deep.
Welcome to episode 16 of the Balls Deep podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Shelby. Welcome.
Welcome. It's wonderful to have you here. Really getting into these episodes now, aren't we?
We are 16 episodes in. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm well chuffed with that. I mean, that is no. I was doing the maths as well. I mean, we do it bi-weekly. 16. I've forgotten, but I think it's about 7 months.
Yeah. It'll be 32 weeks, won't it? We've nearly had a baby in that time.
Wow. News here. We've had a baby. Or about to have a baby.
4 more episodes.
4 more episodes and baby coming. So, no, I think that's a really, hat off to us there. That it's not easy to commit to a podcast. It's the dreaded. Was it episode 7?
I think so.
Yeah, the dreaded episode 7 where most podcasts, stop. They cease. So I'm really proud of us to get here. Episode 17 and 16. I'm jumping ahead already. Episode 16. Because I know we're going to get there, and I'm excited for the next one because I'll give you a little teaser. We will be conducting our first ever interview on this podcast.
We will. How exciting. And to give an additional teaser, we may be appearing on a different podcast.
Yeah, which we will discuss in this podcast and, how we felt about our experience. We'll dive into that. But before we do, we want to give you some travel update. So, as you know, we've been traveling non-stop this year. And, we went back to the UK. And we always plan that, it's very important to us, if you listen to the podcast, that we see traveling as a lifestyle, not as like, we see it as a lifestyle, not I've got to save up lots of money and just go away for 2 years. So we very much stick to that. So it's important to us to go home as well, see family, catch up with friends, see our dogs, and just stay connected with everyone because, going a year or even a couple of months without seeing your family, it's, it's you do miss them. We've got it in us to do it, but we still miss them. We're very close to our family. So I feel very lucky that, when we found each other, we realised that we're both close to our family. I think that's quite rare that both people in the relationship are that close. I think a lot of people these days are getting quite distant from their families.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're also really fortunate that we've been able to have many a time where both of our families have got together, which is lovely. Like your mum's really good at hosting. There's been a couple of times where we had a parents' evening with all of so Scott's one of 4 siblings, and all the siblings and their partners came over, and Scott's mum and her partner, and then my mum and dad came, and it was lovely.
It was lovely, and we actually called it Parents' Evening. It was really funny.
The signs up and everything.
Yeah, we called it It was the first time where all the parents of all the partners, because all 4 of us, now have long-term partners, and it was the first ever we brought all parents together, and it was a great laugh. And since then, we've done a lot of meetups. So yeah, it's important to us, and we planned to only stay a month, and then we planned to go China. But we got back and we just felt we needed another month. I think there was a couple of reasons why. One, being able to get the rounds with everyone, because the first month we were only able to see so many people, because it's a combination of connecting with people, but also like I need to chill the fuck out because for the last 6 months I've been running at 109 miles an hour. So, you also need some rest. And of course, every reason, as I'm sure you'll agree, to save some more money, so we could be, have a bit more money in the bank to go traveling. So, we both work remotely and full-time at all times, but during travels. But of course, if you're at home, there's a lot less expenses, so we can still save a lot more. So, I really enjoyed the extra month. At first, I saw it as a bit of an annoyance, but it's definitely worked out for the better.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the timing of it was right. I think both of us got a little bit frustrated at times about thinking, we've not booked, we even said before we went back, we need to book the next leg of the journey before we go home, because if we don't, then we're going to be...
That's exactly
we're going to be there twice as long as we intend to be, which is exactly what happened. But I definitely think it worked out for the best for a couple of reasons, and that is yeah, we were able to save a bit more money. You know, we were able to see people for longer, which was really nice. But also, I think it helped us realise what was a better plan for the rest of the year, because like you just mentioned, Scott, we were planning on going to China for the summer, but we were going to be going to China and then coming back to Germany, and then, you know, you're in Dubai and then you're in Poland, or whichever way around it is, and then we were in France towards the end of the year, and it just didn't really seem to make sense to be doing that massive journey again back over to Asia, like to East Asia anyway, to then have to come back to Europe. So we kind of made a plan. I mean, at one point it was like, oh, we're even going to go this summer until Germany was definitely on the cards.
Yeah.
But then we were just thinking about, okay, well, where can we go for the summer that's in Europe, that is interesting, that's going to allow us to still, you know, scratch that travel itch and see some more places that we really want to see. And that's how I ended up settling on Italy. And I'm over the moon that we did.
Yeah, it definitely made it was a lot more sense, because it's £200 for a visa in China, and to be honest, it's not very clear how many days you get from it. It seems like you get anywhere between 30 and 90 days, and you can execute on that within a year. So, for example, if you got the 90 days, you could go there for however many, you know, you can use the 90 days throughout the year. It seems like that, but it really wasn't clear. But either way, both logistically going across one side of the world, coming straight back seems silly. And also, because we've got to, you know, invest that £200, we want to, you know, be there for as many days as we can. So if we get, you know, the 60 days one, well then great, we'll probably do most, if not all, the 60 days. Mm-hmm. Because every time we've spoken to people about China, and, you know, Shelby has lots of students from China, she's always learning little cool bites. Yes?
I was just going to say my favourite one recently is, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Chongqing. I think it's written Chongqing.
Okay.
But I think it's Chongqing, but I don't know how you say it. It's like a cyberpunk city. And my student went to me, and because it's currently like 48 degrees there. She went,
fucking hell.
My favorite like quote of student is, "Do not come in summer, you will die." I'm like, okay, fair. Thank you for that.
48 degrees.
Yeah.
I didn't know China got that hot.
No, I didn't, but I guess, I mean, it's a massive country, isn't it? So like the scope of climate is, I mean, it's like Russia's got, there's if you go like to the east and the west of Russia, apparently, like one side is totally daytime and the other side is totally nighttime. Like they swap day and night because it's such a big country.
Jeez. Wow. I wonder how hot it gets in Russia.
Not very, I imagine.
Not very. Yeah, 48 degrees. I thought, as we went to India and we experienced, 47 was the highest we experienced, and it's horrific. I mean, you somewhat get used to it, but it's an odd feeling. When you get into those 40s, the heat just feels weird. It goes from feeling like hot and just starts to feel more like there's something wrong.
Yeah. It's like the core of your body. Like you can feel the difference in temperature between your outsides and your insides, and that's the bit that freaked me out the most. Especially like when you had a drink and you could feel the coldness of that liquid in your body, and you could feel it like slowly evaporating as you melting.
It would not recommend. We've tried it, but so I would not want to go to China when it's that when it's that hot. It'd be cool to understand what a cyberpunk city is. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That sounds quite cool. There's a pretty cool game that came out a couple of years ago called Cyberpunk. But it was great, and now we're in Italy, and then we've got a bunch of Europe travel, which we'll keep you updated with as we go there through the episodes. And I just want to mention about security, because I always like to moan about security in airports. So just if you're wondering what the worst airport in the world, it's Manchester. So there we go. There's your answer. It's so bad that we actually decided to go to an airport that is nowhere near us, which is there was no logical sense. We even paid extra in the hotel. You know, we had to pay for a hotel the night before to be there for the flight the next morning, which we wouldn't have had to done with Manchester. But we just disliked Manchester that much that we're just like, we're not dealing with the stress there. Like, it's just awful. So, and I must say, I think the Midlands Airport is... East Midlands is the nicest airport. When I say nicest airport, I mean the customer said the people.
Yeah.
You know, it might not... The size isn't particularly impressive, but the people were lovely.
Yeah, they were super nice. And I think it's an easy airport as well, because it's just one terminal. But it's got Frankie and Benny's.
I was surprised, but I don't feel I've seen one of them in an airport before.
It's well equipped.
My mate calls it Ben and Frank's.
Ben and Frank's. But yeah, we had a nice. Well, to be honest, I didn't quite enjoy my vegan sausage sandwich, but you had
beans on toast, which is actually alright.
But yeah, Nottingham Airport, East Midlands Airport. It is it is a good airport, and the Premier Inn. We walked about 20 minutes on it, I think, something like that, 15-20 minutes. We saw loads of bunny rabbits right outside the airport. Yeah,
that was strange. It wasn't like 4 or 5. It was like a family of like 20 rabbits.
Yeah, I was going to say 20 about.
I was like, what the hell? They're usually quite skittish. Like 20 plus rabbits just out. It was pretty cool.
It's very cool.
What was that guy moaning about in the Premier Inn at the bar?
Oh, he was... So the guy in the bar at the Premier Inn, he was complaining because I've stayed in many Premier Inns. My company spent thousands of pounds on your hotel. I'm like, mate, you're in a Premier... First of all, check yourself. Like, it's not the Hilton. And he was complaining because he got a meal deal. Or whatever, like, I guess you get a main and a beer for whatever. And the beer that he ordered apparently wasn't included. But... Also, apparently, every other Premier Inn he stayed at, this beer is included in his meal deal. And then when he paid, and they're like, you know what, we just as a courtesy, we're going to take it off for you. I've got a manager here; they'll take it off for you. But then when he paid, he asked for the receipt, and they'd run out a till receipt, and he was like, first the beer, now this.
Oh my god. What a no. Like,
if that's all you've got to worry about.
Yeah. Like, it's just so, like, it's because I couldn't overhear everything, but I could see this man was getting frustrated at the bar. And the staff were like, they were being really nice.
They were great.
Yeah, they were nice on that. And they were like, the restaurant was totally full. And there was a bar was full of people, so they were dealing with it. It was quite a tough shift for them. But even that statement of like, our company pays thousands here, it just means nothing to her. She's like, dude, if your company went, like, it's going to make no difference on the balance sheet. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, obviously I want to sort you out, but that statement of my company pays thousands, it's just like...
Yeah, it should be like, oh... I'm really sorry, sir. Right this way, I'll take you into the posh part of the Premier Inn.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're on the gold tier package. There's no packages and.
But like, I can almost understand it. If you was going to write a letter of complaint to Premier Inn about it, you can understand maybe that kind of statement of you can check and this is that. But to say that to somebody who's working a late shift in an airport hotel, probably for minimum wage, like, just why? Like, why are you ruining their day?
Yeah, I think you've got to be fair. I know things can go wrong in restaurants and it can be annoying, but I think if the person's genuinely trying and not being a dick, like I think you've got to don't take advantage of that. Like, I don't like that. There's some people that go to restaurants and they're ready. They're like, my mother being one of them. She's she's the nicest person ever, but she's ready to complain.
No, my mum is. But equally, they're both ready to offer compliments and
they are, yeah,
tips
they are.
And, like...
You're right. But I think, if they're genuinely trying and they're really trying to figure it out, then, give them... Yes, you can still be pissed, but, like, just give them some time and don't, like, go in for their neck and just see that as an opportunity to take advantage. If they've been a prick, which there are many ignorant waiters out there, take them to the cleaners.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't want to say make them cry, that's awful, but God, I've met some waiters that you want to take them that far, because it's just, some have a face like a slapped ass, and they just look at you as like, I don't want to fucking serve you. I'd rather you left.
Tattoo in Leeds.
Tattoo in Leeds, yeah, tattoo in Leeds. Tattoo in Leeds, do not waste your time. They're crap customer service, food's crap. It's all just, it's
just
all,
for Instagram, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Instagram. It's a nice restaurant. The restaurant looks very nice, but they've cramped every table in, so they've like literally you barely have any space between the tables. They're rude in there. The food really is just not.
It's really subpar. Like, and the food was not good.
Takeaway. Yeah, the food was rubbish.
Yeah, the one redeeming quality is that the bar staff were nice.
Yeah, the bar staff were nice. Yeah,
we had a good chat with them about whiskey, and the rest of it was shit.
Yeah, so don't bother with tattoo. But on security, I just want to make it very clear, if there's any people that are in security in an airport and they're listening to this, and I know you probably hate me, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The rule is, and I know this for fact, the rule is you're allowed 1,000 millimeters of liquid in 100 ml clear bottles. Mm-hmm. So you can take up to 1,000 millimeters of liquid. Those have to be in 100 ml bottles. That's all. So
you can have 10 of them. Exactly.
So you can go on Amazon. This is exactly what I've done in the past, and I just order 10 clear bottles, and then you can fill it with whatever liquid you know. But what goes wrong is some airports say you have to get them all into one singular bag. Some of the airports don't. What's the word? Don't
require that? Or
enforce it? Enforce, that's the word. Other airports don't enforce it, and that's where the annoyance comes in. But it's ridiculous, because at the end of the day, you can't fit 10 100ml bottles in those plastic bags. So the rule is, it fails right there, because you're allowed 1,000 ml, but you can't physically fit that in the bag, which some airports enforce that you must fit in the whole bag. So that's where my frustration is that I'm always within the limit, but some airports are like, cool, yeah, as long as it's 100, like East Midlands, they're totally cool. They only took one thing off me, and to be fair, it was over the 100ml. I knew that. It was my fault. I was trying to get it right. That's totally on me. I binned it. That's fair enough. That is fair. But the airports where they say you have to get it in one bag, and what really annoys me is when they don't say you have to get it in one bag, but the bag needs to be sealed.
Oh, yeah. But and even like when they can see that it would seal, but those bags just don't seal.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, look, you can see, I'll give me a stapler and I'll make it shut. But they just don't, I don't know. It's very nice. But equally, because I had to throw out my hand sanitizer, which I wasn't very happy about. But in my coat pocket, which had gone through, there was a little perfume. There was like, I don't know, 15 mils or something. What else did I got? I've got a lip gloss in my other bag that had gone through, nothing. I got multiple liquid items that were not in the plastic bag that I just basically accidentally got hidden, like concealed in other bags, and they didn't get bleeped. So I don't know what, they just pick and choose.
Yeah, that doesn't, like, why on earth would your bag not go to the side and they do that? Like, I don't, it doesn't add up to me. And that just shows that, as well as the point I made a moment ago, we were right next to each other, and there was two security people, saying, oh, this is what you need to do. The person that you got forced you to put everything in one bag.
Yeah.
The person that I got didn't care, just wanted it under 100 mils. I had like 3 bags worth of liquid.
Well, yeah, when she said to me, is this all for you or someone else, thought, I'm not getting you involved because you've got like 4 bags over there. I was like, yeah, it's all mine.
So that's what I'm saying. So like literally same airport, they're working on the same security line and they're enforcing it differently. And that's what infuriates me. The guy who I was working was enforcing it correctly.
Yeah.
And he was totally really nice as well. He was wasn't aggressive in any way. Because again, for some reason in security, they just treat you like kids. You've got to do it their way. Like, we're adults, we know what the process is. if you try to control it too much, you're going to freak people out, and that's where they actually make mistakes. Is when you've got a hawk eye. Like, you're not going to feel comfortable if someone's like, you know, watching over your shoulder, and the second you move something somewhere, they go, oh, stop. Like, you could have not even going to do what they're about to think. They're just like, no, make sure you go, I'm just going to put it there for a moment, sir. I just need to move some things about. And that sort of tension is where people like, and they sort of freeze.
Yeah.
Especially quite anxious people. It's quite uncomfortable. It can be quite an intense experience. And then they just sort of break and they freeze and they go, I don't know what you want me to do. And then the person just gets, you know, just argues with them and, you know, aggressive. I've been pulled out on many queues in security lines because I've lost my shit. I never raise my voice. I don't know how to raise my voice.
You should never in a blooming airport though, darling. They can just make the fine you're not flying.
Well, I guess, yeah. But I've lost my, you know, lost myself for some. But anyway, so if there's someone in security in airports, I'd love to interview you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Well, I mean, Pat used to, didn't he? We could.
What?
Pat used to be airport security.
Did he?
Yeah. I'll have to get him on the pod.
Did he?
Yeah, well, you know what he said? I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but he said that, well, you can tell me and I'll edit it out if I'm not allowed to, but he said that they'd, you know, the guys at the front, if you're rude to them, they'll walk talking like, right, guy, tattoos, hair tied up, mess with him.
Really?
Yeah. So if you are a dick to him, then maybe like they will be like, pull his bag.
I did not know that. So Pat's my mum's partner. What? I never knew. I know he's had a couple of different jobs. But I never knew.
Yeah, I think he was one of his. I think he was like when he was 18, 19. I think he was like one of his first jobs.
No way.
Birmingham Airport.
Well, there we go. Example.
Exactly.
They literally. That's messed up. That's true. That's
innit?
That's actually that's messed up. Why would you do that? People are so stressed in airports already.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to make it more stressful? Like, just.
Well, I suppose if someone has been a dick, then maybe you would want to mess with them. But I mean, I don't think we've ever been dicks. I think
we've
very
never
polite.
been dicks. The only time I've, you know, started to lose my temper is when I'm in front of them and they're just shouting at me.
Yeah, when they're really rude.
Yeah, I've never unreasonably gone in like saying, "Fuck you, I'm going to do it this way." The only time I've lost my temper is when they've just been really rude. And no matter what I do, they just get more. For some reason, they just level up, angrier, and angrier.
Yeah.
Like, how can I win here?
Yeah.
Like, just chill the fuck out.
They must have like the highest level of anxiety in a job.
Yeah,
Well, like the guy in Paris, you know, like someone had dropped a scarf on the floor, and so I picked up the scarf, and I went to pass it to him, and he goes in the box. I'm like, yeah, but it's like, put it in the box. I was like,
yeah,
but you need to put that in the box. I'm like, it's not mine. And he's like, oh. But then like, then he did take the scarf. And then like, I'm putting my stuff in the bag and like, you know, arranging it so that everything's visible. You know, I'm very experienced at this.
Exactly.
And then he starts pulling stuff up and being like, no, not like that. And then he makes a right balls up of it, like putting stuff on top of each other. And he's like, nothing can be on top of each other. I was like, nothing was on top of each other till you put it on top of each other. I was like, all right, I'll get another tray, and we can all calm down.
Honestly, was that the same one that just for a couple seconds looked like he was gonna have a breakdown?
Probably.
I think there was one that sort of, I don't know what his problem was. We had organised it all, and then he looked at it and he sort of stepped back and he looked like concerned at what he had to deal with. He looked as if, you know, it's not visual right now, but it looked as if like he had no clue how he was going to deal with our bags.
Yeah.
And then he just started moving them everywhere and just made no sense of it.
No.
And it all just went. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the same guy.
Yeah, it was very strange, but...
Yeah. So, if you're in security, just chill out a bit. But we're in Italy now.
Yes.
We're in
worth
Italy.
mentioning the noise in case it is
And if
audible.
if there is a bit of noise, we apologise. Even though we are in the top of a castle, and that isn't a lie, we are in a castle right now.
It's beautiful.
It's very nice. But for some reason, the road sounds as if it's going through our front room. So So sorry if you can
I'm on
hear
the
that.
top floor.
On the top floor and it's like, it's so loud. But luckily we bring earplugs wherever we go, so we're okay. But we did some really cool things this last weekend. We went to the Vatican and we went to the Colosseum. And what was your thoughts on the Vatican, my darling?
Well, I thought it was great. So we're currently based in Naples, but we got the train and it took an hour and 20 minutes to Rome, which that in itself was a pleasant experience.
It was great. It
was a really nice train ride, dead easy, comfortable, fast.
Yeah, seeing all... If you've been to Napoli or, the Amalfi Coast, like that style of where the buildings are, the village in the hills. And I loved that about the train. It was just constant... Just seeing the villages in the hills, in and amongst hills. There's some houses that were on the top of hills, like just one house, just in the middle of nowhere. Looked interesting, but I really enjoyed that. That plus the wine yards and everything was really stunning.
Yeah, and actually being in Rome was great. So it second time I've been to Rome. I went once with my mum on. We actually flew on Christmas Day, and. Yeah, but I never actually went to the Vatican. We went close to it, my mother and I, but there was like a big queue to get in, and we decided not to do it. And now I'm really glad, because we decided to get the official tour, which was it €60 each?
Yes.
Which initially I wasn't keen on paying, because I thought, well, we'll just go and we'll look around ourselves, because it'll be just like €20, I think, or €30. But to get in and get around it is huge, and there's so many different like areas that you've got to go through security, and you've got to it will be really difficult and really stressful, I think, to have had to figure that out ourselves. So I'm very glad that we booked on the tour. But something funny about it though was that we were going to be in a group of 7, like me and Scott, and then a party of 5 with us. But the party of 5 didn't show up, so it was just going to be us and the tour guide. I'm like, great, we've got a private tour. Next minute, they've walkie-talkied through to her to say, oh, I found the other guys. And it did say that we had to be there 15 minutes early. And we were there like an hour early. We were really early. And Scott was like, bet you they're American.
I knew straight away. I've met enough nationalities to know which ones are going to be late. And... I just like, they're American.
Which are the ones going to have the arrogance to know that someone's going to wait?
Yeah, and then be pissed off that you've left them.
Yeah. So they were like super, like you said, didn't you? They better say sorry for me. Like, so it was like now 1:15, and you're supposed to be there at 1:45. The tour started on the hour. So, but they didn't even acknowledge us, did they? Like, I ended up saying hello, but they didn't. In the end, they were really nice. But initially they didn't acknowledge us, didn't say sorry, they just, like you said, seemed pissed that we'd basically left the meeting point half an hour after they were told to be there.
Yeah, I was not. I was, for the first 10 minutes of them appearing, I was a bit worried because I thought, they're going to make this a crap experience. Because they were, loud wouldn't be the right word, but they were, I don't know, they gave me just really bad vibes, and they weren't social. They were quite rude to the tour guide. They didn't engage with us. They seemed like, they gave me the feeling that if we said anything, they would like come at us. Yeah. They gave me like argumentative vibes.
Yeah. Which I said to one guy, I thought I'm just going to break the ice and chat and said, hi, where are you from? I mean, I know it's, I knew straight away the States, but so he told me, and from Maryland, and I said, oh, great, we're from the UK, and he goes, well, you guys have got a lot going on over there, and so I just like sort of scoffed and said, well, I could say the same to you, mate.
Yeah, we've barely got anything going on compared to America right now.
I know, literally, I was like, and you just seemed like an odd thing for him to say coming from the States. So
yeah,
I could say the same to you, sir.
Isn't it? Especially what's going on there right now. I'm shocked.
Yeah. But as we found out later, they'd come off a cruise ship and like they docked in, which I can understand. That's very, because they'll have had to come off, get to a hotel, get there, you know, like, so it will have been a here, there, everywhere kind of morning for them, which is probably why they're a bit off.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. I know that can be stressful, and but they did come round and they were nice.
Yeah, and the young guy was super sweet.
The young guy was sweet. They were quite sweet at the end, and but it was, I would probably just, and if you are looking to get a tour, all the tours on like Viator and Get Your Guide like super expensive, like €120 minimum. If you search Vatican tours, not on Viator, but like the second or third link will be called Maximus tours. It's actually only €60, so I'd recommend just them. The only downer, which it depends what you're looking to get, to be fair. The only one thing I would say was something we didn't enjoy as much is just it was very information heavy. Like, yes, we want to be, we want to be informed, but we're not historians. We kind of want to see things more than be informed to the ninth degree. So, but there was a lot of standing out in the sun and they're just talking about the same art for like an hour, and there's only so much I can, like, I really enjoy going to art exhibits and I get a lot from looking at art, but I'm not into it enough to hear someone tell me the history of art for an hour. Yeah,
and like repeatedly in the different sections. And yeah, for me it was a lot of standing somewhere that didn't really have a particular, like, we'd stand or in the shade even, and just basically with a view of nothing, and then we'd learn about things to do with the Vatican generally, the history of Catholicism and things like that. Whereas, I felt like there was a lot of more talking than I would have wanted and less seeing. I would have preferred more time. Like, we really got rushed through all the statues. I would have enjoyed. And then we just
rushed through all the museum. There's 8 museums in there. We went through 2, I believe. Because we went through the Greek statues, and then we went through the map room, which was by far the coolest room.
Yeah.
It was like all art down each side. I mean, it was the most stunning. There were so many stunning rooms, but if you've been to the Louvre in France, in Paris, there is a room. It's named after like a king. King's room, like
King Louis the.
King Louis, 16th, I was thinking Louis
like
as well.
It's like 16th, 17th, 13th, I don't know, 14th.
Yeah.
Something in the teens.
It's something in the teens, but it's
something
like
resembling a Louis.
Yeah, something resembling. It's one of the main things to see in the Louvre, but it's a very stunning room. It's like art, and it's all gold in the room. It was honestly like that room, but 6 times the length. So it was like, and then on either side of the walls, it was the map. It was maps of the entire world, but like
it's all Italy, I think, just from south to the north.
No, I swear we saw the UK on one of them.
I think she said that we're taking a tour up Italy. Like, we start at the bottom, like the entrance to the room is like the bottom of Italy, and you gradually make your way to the north. I could have got that wrong, but that's how I thought it was. I thought it was just Italy.
Or maybe it was. See, she rushed us through it. So, but I thought that was. I mean,
that was really cool.
That was a very cool room.
We saw a statue with eyes in there. That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. If you're familiar with Greek statues and
Roman statues,
they never have eyes drawn on them, but one did, and it was really weird.
Yeah, but it was like googly eyes almost. It was like ceramic, like colourful eyes that were just in the. I didn't really get that. It was a bit weird.
But we still got to see a load of cool things. So we went into the Sistine Chapel. Shelby had a big learning in there.
About the roof?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought the hand of God, like where it's God touching the hand of Adam. I mean, it's been one of my favourite paintings for a long time. Like, I really like, and I love seeing where it's just the hands as well. But, I was familiar with the full God's body and Adam's body. But I thought that was the entirety of the roof. Like, when you hear about Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, that's the bit that it shows you. And so, I thought that filled the roof. And it's actually very small. It's probably like a 50th of the roof. I don't know. It's a really small part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, so the roof, and a lot of the roofs in the basilicas around Rome actually, it's full of art. The roof, which is quite interesting because we're not used to that in the cathedrals and churches around the world. Whereas in Italy, in Rome, the basilicas and cathedrals, they had art from literally from the bottom of the wall all the way up through the ceiling, which was an interesting thing to enjoy. But it was like in sections, so just like you would have art pieces on the ceiling, so it was in sections and it told stories. But we saw a lot of stunning art, and it was cool. It really cool to be in the Sistine Chapel. But surprisingly, I was more impressed by the basilica. The basilica was
Peter's, I think, wasn't
it? St. Peter's Basilica was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was really beautiful, and like the statues in there as well. Like there was the four, around where I think St. Peter is buried. That was all like kind of cordoned off, wasn't it? 'Cause like they're doing repair work on there. But in the four corners of the section around that, there were different biblical characters, statues, and they even had they had was it Veronica? I'm so bad. I should know this. I taught religious studies. It was beginning with V anyway. It's the woman who patted his head when he was carrying the... And so they've actually got that rag in there. And, like, they've got a bit of the cross in, which I just think, like, that blows my mind. Because, like, I think, I have been christened. I don't identify as a Christian. I'm not a religious person, but Jesus factually was a real person. Like, regardless of what you believe, he existed historically. That's documented. Like this crucifixion of Jesus and everything happened, I think. Right?
I don't know if that's true. I don't know.
Well, I'll find that out in a moment. But Jesus Christ definitely existed.
I don't think you'll find that out in a minute because, of course, there's going to be conflicting. I don't know.
As a historian, and I know that for a fact that Jesus Christ existed, a man who claimed to be the Son of God, and that it is documented that he was a real person.
Right.
And I think it's actual fact that he was crucified. Anyway, but they've got a bit of the cross and stuff, which just blows my mind that they have that there.
Yeah, even though I don't believe in it, I still marvel at it. Knowing that it's there, I don't know, I still get a funny feeling. I still get like, wow, that's incredible. Even though I don't necessarily believe in it. I remember there's a museum in London. It's a free museum as well, the History Museum. And there's a room where they have the thorns from his, what do you call his crown? I don't know.
Yeah, like the thorn crown when he was crucified.
Crown. Yeah, so I was like, wow, that's incredible. So yeah, it was beautiful, really stunning. We got blessed in there. We saw a service. We
saw a crazy guy.
We navigated away from some crazy guy. I'd say just a very passionate. Yeah, he was just. Sometimes people can be at a level of passion where it's a bit too intense. And he was passionate to a level where he was shouting, he was getting in people's faces. He did argue with a couple of people, because he was just barging past people. So I think he was quite rude. But yeah, we sort of steered away from him. But it was pretty amazing. And every Sunday the Pope comes out and does a service. So if you want to see the Pope, you can probably quite easily do it. And then after the next day, we went to the Colosseum, which I thought was amazing. That's our third wonder of the world. So we've done Chichen Itza in Pista in Mexico. We've done the Taj Mahal in Agra in Delhi in India. And now we've done the Colosseum in Rome in Italy. And what I didn't know about the Colosseum is I didn't realize the amount of ruins outside of the Colosseum. Like, even if you don't want to pay for the ticket to go in the Colosseum, just go over to it. Because one, you can see it anyway. You don't actually have to pay. You don't have to actually pay to you can get pretty damn close to it. And two, there's like loads of cool ruins all around it that is just there to just walk around. I was well blown away by that. How much ruin? Like, they've really preserved a massive part of Rome, of all ruins, and they're still excavating it. And what I find quite funny is I know, like, for a fact, if that was in London, they would have levelled 80% of it, put up, you know, they would have put up apartment blocks and say, yeah, we'll keep this 20% and charge silly money for it. But Italy, I really respect that they've kept, you know, multiple football pitches.
Yeah.
With ruins, and it's so cool to experience.
And it's so, like, really, when you put it into context like that, because I mean, we have got a very long and rich history in the UK. Yeah,
well, the longest.
But it's just not preserved. Like, I mean, you can go to York, which, you know, has got Viking history and stuff, like 7th century, that kind of, not 7th century, like hang on, I don't know, old. Old. I think 7th century. But there's like a museum, but there's not like, I feel like you'd think that there'd just be so much more. Like, yeah, we've got the Roman baths in Bath, but that's Italian history from the Roman Empire. But like, yeah, why don't we have more like outside of churches? What have we actually got?
Yeah, I think you would have to go to just specific spots. Like, you're not gonna walk around and see many ruins everywhere. Not that I've experienced in the UK.
I mean,
like,
it's Kirk's Abbey. That's nowhere near as old as Colosseum. And
Kirk's Abbey is an example
apart.
where they have preserved something, and obviously there's many more. But I don't feel like we've preserved as much as we could have. Like, I mean, the capital of Italy, and they've preserved, you know, 20 football pitches worth of ruins, and that's a lot of space to make some money for a city. So, you know, I really respect that. London would never do that. So yeah, I think it is a shame when people are always so jealous of the level of history we have, and how much. So I think it is a shame.
Yeah,
I think it's a shame.
It is. And like, I'm just looking now. So Kirk's Abbey was made in the 1100s. It was built in the 1100s, and the Colosseum was built in 80 AD. So like, wow. The Colosseum predates Kirk's Abbey by nearly 1,000 years.
Wow.
And that's much better preserved. So
that's crazy.
There you go. Go Italy. Well done.
Go Italy. Yeah. So check out the Colosseum. It's pretty cool. You get to see trapdoors, where the gladiators came out from, where the animals came out from, and you learn all about it. And yeah, the gladiators were very respected, actually. It was quite interesting. And we've finally learned, you know, what we mentioned on our last episode about the myth-busting Hollywood thumbs up, thumbs down. The tour guide actually gave us an answer on it. He said, yeah, it is rubbish. He said instead he would put a thumb to his neck.
And that was more the crowd, wasn't it? To like, apparently...
Yeah, the crowd would do it,
the emperor would sort of make the decision privately, but when, if it was decided that it was going to be killed, the crowd would basically be like, yeah, kill him. And then...
Yeah, so they would be like pointing their thumb to their neck, the crowd, and then,
Jeez.
So
it's been very scary.
Yeah, and that was sort of the arc of it as well. It started from first blood, and basically over time people just wanted more and more, and it got to the point where it basically was just kill each other, and the crowd loved it.
Yeah.
And then we learned that the Christians loved it, which was interesting. And it was quite funny. What was quite funny, I did find out, that I did realise, is when the Christians appeared, they preserved a lot, which was nice, but what they did by the reason they preserved it is they just turned everything into churches. So everything, they go, yes, this is, whatever AD, it was AD what?
80.
18 AD. 18 AD?
80.
80 AD.
That was a Colosseum built.
And then there'll be like a cross outside it and be like, yeah, this cross came years later. So that was quite funny, seeing crosses everywhere.
It's maybe why we've got so many churches, and that's all the history we've got.
Yeah, maybe.
So, yes, so I'm part of I think it was on the Facebook group Girls Love Travel. I saw a message from a woman who had a podcast, and she was looking for guests to be on her podcast. Particularly, she was interested in women who travel the world alone, and that, historically is what I have done. And so I just reached out to her and I said, hey, look, I used to travel on my own, but now I'm actually traveling full-time with my boyfriend. Is that something that you'd be open to having on your podcast? And we just connected and we made it happen. So we were on Nicole's podcast. A couple of weeks ago we recorded it, but it's not out yet. It was a really positive experience because, I mean, we used to somewhat interviewing each other, I guess, aren't we? Like our podcast is, our podcast is us just having a chat, and Nicole's podcast is called Yarns for the Soul, and that she's from New Zealand, and yarn. We'll talk about this more later, but a yarn is like a Kiwi slang for having a chat. You know, like unraveling ideas with people. So that's the idea behind it. And we went on there. We were interviewed by her to spoke about our travels. So not sure what date that's going to come out, but we actually will have the privilege and pleasure of interviewing Nicole on our next podcast. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, I am excited. And she was, I must say, she was a very good interviewer.
She's great. Like her podcasts are really good. Like I've listened to them when I'm out on my runs, and I've really enjoyed them. Yeah,
I mean, as a marketer, I've been involved in creating video content for the last 10 years, and it's not easy to be a host or an interviewer, and a lot of people take it up and not be very good at it. And even people, I still see people today who have podcasts and have even been interviewing for a long time, and they're still not very good at it. Mm-hmm. But she was great. Like, she was very good at not just a question, but it felt very natural. She was very, like, I like someone who takes their time. Like, the pauses are fine. Pauses are, like, yes. You take your time to think. And she was very natural. It just flowed very well. So I was, yeah.
Yeah, and she said she was happy with tangents and stuff, which I think is important. You know, like if you're too rigid with your format and your structure, then it can become like... Scott's giving me a look because I'm a free spirit and he likes structure. But no, don't you find that flowed really nicely? Because we'd answer questions, and if it went off on a bit of a tangent, then that's okay.
Yeah. No, it was good. We butchered the start, so just skip the first 5 minutes. But yeah, you'll have to listen to our episode to see it. But we'll be interviewing on our next episode, which I'm very excited to do.
Me too.
But something before we do talk. You're such a twat. Shelby has just gone to video me, and it's just beamed a light in my eyes.
That's not my fault.
You know, it's quite funny, isn't it? When people don't have the make of your phone, they instantly just, like, they give up on the UI of it. So I have an iPhone, Shelby has a Google phone. But I just find that so funny. It's the same with anyone, you know. If I had a MacBook and, you know, you Windows, like, if you then give your laptop or your phone to someone else, like, they don't even, like, try for a couple minutes. Within 30 seconds they go, it doesn't work.
No, but I've got to say though, darling, so I've got my dad onto a Google phone now, and I don't like using his phone either, because it's not my phone. You both have
a Google phone.
No, I know that, but it's not my phone, and the apps are in different places, and it's just, you know, it's a slightly different shape and size, because he's got a newer one than me. And yeah, if it's not my phone, I don't like it.
Right, okay. Well, I do get that, but I can't wait to go to a Google phone, by the way. But anyway, I do want to talk about something that Shelby is obsessed with. If you don't already know, Shelby is very obsessed with dogs. And I have started to point them out to her now, which is nice for her. I don't know why I encourage it, because it can... You know, like, if we're trying to get somewhere quickly, say we've got 10 minutes to get somewhere, if there's going to be 6 dogs on that route, we're going to be, 6 minutes late. So, but anyway. But I have a theory, because I watched a dog documentary recently on Netflix, which is awesome.
Was it the one we watched together?
Yeah, what was it called?
I think it's Inside the Mind of Dogs.
Inside the Mind of Dogs. Watch it. It's a really fun watch. It's less than an hour. It's a great watch. But anyway... I am about to convince you why dogs should be our GPs, general practitioners. Number one, dogs have an incredible sense of smell. Some dogs can even sense an epileptic seizure coming on to alert, owners and people around them. They can even smell diabetes what the fuck? And detect drops in blood sugar levels in people with hyperglycemia. They can even detect the presence of Parkinson's disease before symptoms even arise, apparently through the changes in skin odor. Like, how can you have a nose that's strong? It's amazing. They can even sense cancer, even cancer types. So even like specific, like breast cancer, lung cancer. I don't know how they communicate that to you, but they can. So that's pretty crazy. And even something as important as, of course, bacteria in hospitals. You know, bacteria going around in very sensitive orders can be a serious problem, and they can sniff out certain bacterial infections, such as Clostridium difficile, and that's really crucial to prevent a spread of infections in hospitals. And a really nice one is they can sense stress, anxiety, emotions, which I'm sure if you have a dog, you've already noticed that. So like, how do we not want dogs to be GPs? They can diagnose half the things you go in there for anyway. And come on, you've got to agree, GPs are usually pretty rude, and they expect you to be free on a Tuesday at 2:00. Like, yes, I'm free at Tuesday on a 2:00. I have 2 kids and I have a full-time job, sure. Like, no. So I don't know about you, but I would rather be told that I've got cancer by a dog and have a hug with the dog after than be told by someone who's made me go there at Tuesday 2:00 and wants me out the door.
And I think we should call them doctors.
Doctors, there we go. That's an well done. Yeah, doctors. So you let me know. That's my 2 cents on it. That's my 2 cents.
Well, I would tend to agree, my darling. I mean, I just think, you know, dogs are the single best thing on this planet. Like, genuinely, like, I mean, there's a reason that it's God backwards. They are just angels on this earth that walk among us, and I feel privileged to be in their presence, if I'm being quite honest. Like, there's never a time where I think it's a bad time for a dog. You know, like, if someone said to me, do you want to meet my dog right now? I'm never going to say no to that. Like, why would you say no to that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I keep getting ads, actually, to register Milo as like a therapy dog, but it's actually you that gets registered. Like, I met this woman who she was a principal of 2 different primary schools, and in lockdown she got a dog, and she registered as a like a therapy dog trainer, I guess. It's not really a trainer, like, but you do a course, and if your dog's of the right temperament, then they can go and be a therapy dog. So her dog is the therapy dog for the 2 schools that she's principal of, and she got all the teaching staff trained in it as well, so that they know how to, like, work with the kids and the dog together. And I think,
wow,
like, why is this not more of a thing? Right, I ran for president of the Students' Union in uni, and my main policy was dog-friendly study spaces in the Students' Union, and I still can't believe that I didn't win based off of that.
Well, I'm shocked. Well, yeah, that's...
And then I received criticism about, what about people who are allergic? I'm like, sell chuffing peanuts in the Students' Union. Go and complain about that.
Did you say that back to
No, I didn't. I was really
timid.
But I should have. But,
yeah.
you know, it's like, well, then obviously those people don't go in those areas that are designated for the dogs.
Yeah, it's designated for dogs.
I'm not saying
exactly.
allow the dogs everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm saying have a space where there can be dogs there.
Yeah.
You can go and de-stress. You can go and study there if you want. God, how fantastic would it have been to be studying and have a dog? Like, I mean, all through my masters, Milo was like, which was great because my masters was on animal rights. So to have Milo just like chilling with me, well, I was writing about his right to autonomy and to not be eaten. It felt great.
Oh, that's sweet. That's really sweet.
We're about to wrap up this episode because we're getting close to an hour. And as you know, on our previous episodes, we discuss our favourite and least favourite thing about the place we've just been, plus our first impressions of the new place that we are. But as the last place we were was the UK, it doesn't really make sense for us to do that. So I guess we'll just talk about our
first impressions of Italy,
yeah.
which is still in line. And I'm happy the way I bring it, because we haven't been able to do this segment for a little while because we have been in the UK. So I'm so happy we get to bring this segment back. So please, my darling, what is your first impressions of Italy?
Well, my first impression of Italy, we arrived into Naples quite early on a Friday morning. We came straight to our beautiful castle, which is very nice Airbnb. And my first impressions of Italy is, I feel like it's like a cop-out to say this because I feel like I've said it about a lot of places, but it's just super friendly and beautiful. So I think something that France made me realise is how comfortable I am in Europe and how it feels, it just feels like home. Like, you know, I feel I am European. I feel European culturally, emotionally, spiritually. I'm, you know, European. And I think just being in Europe is great. And I think being outside of the UK is really great. So, yeah, my first impression of Italy, if I had to summarise it, would just be beautiful. Bella Italia. That's my first impression. It's beautiful.
Bella Italia. Is that what that means?
Yeah, beautiful Italy.
Bella Italia. Oh, that's lovely. And what do you think about the pizza?
Well, I don't know if everybody knows this about me. I feel like I mention it daily to my students. Literally is like conversation starters. What's your favourite food? Mine's pizza. I love pizza. I really love pizza. Much like, would you like to see my dog? The answer to the question, would you like pizza? My answer is going to be yes, 100% of the time. Wake me up in the middle of the night and offer me a pizza, and I'll go for it. And interestingly, so one of the main reasons that I wanted to come to Naples, out of everywhere in Italy, is that it is the birthplace of pizza. Yeah. And more specifically, the birthplace of the Margherita pizza. And there's a pizzeria called Brandi, I believe, Brandi, that was the place that invented the Margherita. And the reason they invented it was that the Queen, Margherita, visited this particular pizzeria, and they wanted to create something special because historically pizza was just marinara. It was, you know, without cheese. It was just the pizza base, the tomatoes, your basil, garlic, olive oil, and that was basically it. So they decided to make something special in honor of this royal visit, and they added the mozzarella and mozzarella and basil. And so they had the red of the tomatoes, the white of the mozzarella, and the green of the basil, and those are the colours of the Italian flag. And Margherita loved it so much that they decided to name the pizza after her. And I think that's such a great story. And I love pizza, so I'm overjoyed that we are in the birth. We haven't eaten at that pizzeria yet, but we will absolutely before we leave.
Absolutely, I think that's such a cool story. You told me that, I think, maybe a couple of days before I was getting on the plane. I thought it was a really cool story, and it's really interesting to be in the place where it's the birthplace of something which is beloved in the world. Like, it's not frequent you end up being in the place of the birthplace of somewhere. And we have had a pizza a couple times in different places. Probably the most famous one we've been in so far is what's believed to be the oldest pizzeria in the entire world. If you watch the TV show with Gordon Ramsay, Gino D'Acampo, who's the other guy called?
Fred from First Dates, but I don't know his name.
Yeah, Fred from First Dates. They have a bit of a funny trio show. On one of their apps, they actually go to this because there's a photo of them in there. And we met the guy, the owner and everything, and I really enjoyed the pizza. Yeah, it
was good, and it's also very inexpensive. Like, you can get a pizza for like €6.
Is really reasonable here. Yeah,
like Pizza Express is £16 now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Whereas you're talking €5-6 if you want just a margherita or a marinara.
Yeah, we had two big pizzas. I had the largest glass of wine.
It was like a bottle, nearly. Yeah, like half a bottle of wine.
Bottle in a glass. Plus water,
a
Sprite salad, and it came to like less than €40. Yeah. It was something like so that would have been, nearly twice that in the UK. So, yeah, it's really. I must say that I've been surprised by the cost of things. I think it's actually more reasonable than I anticipated. But first impressions for me for Italy, I think I'm probably pretty impressed by its history so far, because we haven't had to go far to see the history of Italy. That's quite a nice thing that I noticed about was a first impression of France as well, was that, and I'm not sure if I said that in that episode, but like you don't have to walk far to see some history. Whereas the UK, we've got all the history, but you'd have to plan out like, oh yeah, apparently there's this place where you can go and see this. In Napoli or in Rome, we just walked and we'd see stuff. We'd see like stuff where it's been preserved, or it's been a really, like the Trevi Fountain was really cool. And yeah, a bunch of other things. So I just say, I love how they've maintained the history. And you know, you just walk on so many little gems. Like I didn't even know Maradona played for Napoli. He's like beloved here, and you took me to this really cool, like you wouldn't, like this really cool snicket, and it was like totally Maradona. Has this big mural of Maradona museum, like everyone's just having the time of their life, and it's just like, this is so cool, this is here. Like it's, yeah, so the history, I love how they've preserved the history, I feel. Yeah. But yeah, count how many times I said the word history there, and you'll get a free pizza. We thank you for taking a break from your day to get balls deep with us. Until next time, remember, stay ballsy,
dive deep,
but don't forget your snorkel.
Balls deep.